Welcome to Easy Gates TRB Polytechnic, Easy Paper Solutions. So we'll begin with 2 marks. So I have done 1 mark problems based on 4 subjects: analog, digital, controls, and electric circuits. Okay. Let me check any other problem is left. We'll add it. Okay, after 2 mark session. So relatively, people felt 2 marks are easier than 1 mark problems. In fact, even I felt the same. Okay, so some problems are straight away copy paste from the gate papers only. Okay, previous gate papers. Those who practice the gate papers, maybe they felt a little easier. Then straight away, sometimes they know the answer also. They remember. It depends on how hard the practice okay was before the TRB examination. So probably since the problem is exactly matching with the same problem. Okay, so no, not even a data change. Okay, for some of the problems, so they directly given the answer. Okay, but if they had such a memory. Okay, but people actually not suggested that way in gate practice. They have to remember only the root. They may apply and quickly get the answer. That's all. They will feel familiar with the problem. That's all. Okay, so this is such a problem. Okay, so that is exactly a problem copied from the easy gate paper only from one of the recent years. Okay, yes, let us answer this. Okay, it takes application of fundamentals only. Okay, in the circuit analysis we have a dependent source Vx and another independent source. Some label is given, some Vs, or you can take. Okay, so then it is 100 volts. So we have two sources in the circuit. One is a dependent, that is Vx. Okay, that is depending on the potential Vx, and the polarity marking is not clearly given, so you have to take it. So only the right side potential of Vx is given. So this is minus, you should take this potential. Okay, so voltage across. So this is a 4 ohm resistor, it's a 4 ohm resistor, it's a 4 ohm resistor, you should take, even though there is missing. Okay, so this is how you need to feel the problem. So the voltage across this 4 ohm resistor is given as Vx. So what we need to find out is what is the value of RL maximizes the power delivered to RL. So problem is not about the power. Problem is the value of RL that is going to make maximum power getting delivered to the load. Okay, it's going to exploit the principle of MPT, but it's not talking about the power. So in the MPT, it's all about Theveninization only. Disconnect your RL from the circuit. So then between the two terminals, you simply convert this into VThevenin and RThevenin. Then it is going to become a single source VThevenin and single resistance RThevenin. Then you will connect RL. Okay, that's a variable now. So this is RL. So you need to set the value of RL for RThevenin so that MPT, maximum power transfer, takes place. Okay, so in the given circuit. Okay, that's a principle of maximum power transfer. So for that, you need to set RL equal to RThevenin. In this case, it's not always. This RL equal to RThevenin is not the universal statement. For this case, when it resembles this, then this is the condition. So for the given case, RL equal to RThevenin is the maximum power transferred. So the question is, if you find RThevenin, you can vary RL for that, so that maximum power transfer will take place. Okay, to the load. Okay, so the goal is to find only RThevenin. The problem is only finding RThevenin. Okay, that is the value of RL needed to get the maximum power. So if you get RThevenin, you can, that is your value of RL for the maximum power transfer. Okay. Yes, the goal is RThevenin means first you need to free your circuit from sources. How many sources we have? Only one source. So let us replace this source by short circuit. So rest of them as it is. So we have 4 ohm. We have 4 ohm resistor. This is 4 ohm resistor. This battery should be shorted. Just obey the steps of RThevenin. You will get the answer instantly. So the two terminals where we used to connect the RL got disconnected from the circuit. So then we are Thevenizing the circuit. We are looking for RThevenin between the terminals A and B. Okay, right? Then sources, the Vs, you can say supply voltages switch it off. Okay, but you should not switch off the dependent source. That's very important because it is depending on the voltage across this 4 ohm. If there is a voltage across 4 ohm, that voltage will be existing. So then keep the dependent sources. So that's a dependent source. Minus and plus. Then another 4 ohm resistor is there. Already I have given you somewhere the hint how to go for the Z Thevenin or R Thevenin. Okay, somewhere I discussed about this. So this potential only given as what? Vx. So once you know the Vx, then straight away you know this potential. That's also going to be the Vx. Then how to proceed with the dependent source in action? We can't find the R Thevenin quickly. If it is fully function of resistive elements, by going with series and parallel arrangement, you can get the answer instantly. But this will never help you. Then turn to the second fundamental of getting the resistance or Thevenin or impedance. So what we can do is, this is a blind box for me. There's a blind box for me. Take that way. Okay, I don't know what is internal to it. So when there is a blind box, if I want to know the resistance, suppose if you try this using a multimeter, you just connect the two terminals of the multimeter. Multimeter will read the ohmic value. Okay, like that. Instead of connecting a multimeter, what we can do is connect a known source. Excite the circuit by a known source, and source is completely your choice. Excite this by a known source. Let that potential is Vx, and look for the current drawn by the entire circuit. And then straight away we can say R Thevenin is equal to Vx by Ix. That's the beauty of the circuit analysis. Okay. So choose your Vx. It's completely your call. Let that number is going to help you, so that is going to give integer numbers. It is not going to complicate things. Let that is going to give integer numbers. Say for example, let me take the bottom rail as 0. Okay, if I take the bottom rail as 0 for a quick and rapid circuit analysis. So I have 4 ohm in series. So this is 0 means this point is also going to be 0 volt. It's helping. So then this 4 and 4 series means if I have it is 8 ohm. So if I have an integer multiple of 8, things will be very easy. So let me take, say for example, 8 volt supply. If I take 8, so this bottom is also already taken as 0. The top will become 8 volt. Yes, go with the point potential concept, run quickly and get the answer. So this is 8 means, and this is also going to be 8 volt. See that this is 8 volt and this is 0 volt. This entire 8 will fall across this 8 ohm resistor, will give you a current of 1 amps. 8 across 8 ohm will make the current 1 amps. So because of that, this Vx is known now. 1 amps into 4, Vx will become 4 volt plus and minus. The moment Vx is known, come back to this side. So it is going to be 4 volt. And you know already this what potential. The polarity marking is very important. For the Vx, left side is negative, right side is positive. Yes, this is 0. And now the potential rises by 4. So this is going to be 4 volt. And this is 8 means this also 8. If that is the case, what's the drop across this? The drop across this. Let me take it to the next slide so things will be better. We'll do it now. So that's a voltage. So this is 4 volt and this is 8 volt. So this is higher potential, this is lower potential. So the difference is going to be 4 volt. 4 volt across 4 ohm will make a current of 1 amps. Already you know this current is 1 amps and this current is also 1 amp. So as per the KCL, this current is going to be 2 amps. So you are setting 8 volt and current drawn is 2 amps. Therefore, R Thevenin will be equal to Thevenin will be equal to 8 volts applied, and the net circuit drawn a current of 2 ohm means the net resistance seen between the terminals is going to be 4 ohms. That's what it means. So by setting 4 ohm resistance for the load resistor, so we can maximize the power absorbed by the load, or we can maximize the power delivered to the load. So the answer is R Thevenin, RL must be equal to your R Thevenin 4 ohm for maximum power transfer to whom? To maximum power transfer to whom? RL itself. Okay. So the best answer for this problem is 4 ohms. That's your answer. Yes, only the fundamental should convince you. Okay. That's your answer. Option B is the answer for this problem. That's a interesting 2 marks. Okay. You can try with any other potential. Instead of 8, you can also try with 16. And since it's a linear circuit, if you give 16, the current is going to become 4. Again, if you try 16 by 4, the resultant R Thevenin will remain same. But you try to take integer multiple of, okay, 8. Okay, so there is a helping hand. You are helping yourself. Suppose if we take just 1 volt, you can try with 1 volt also. You will get the current as 1 by 8. And this current also going to be 1 by 8. And the net current drawn will become 2 by 8. Then you are applying only 1 volt. And the current drawn is 2 by 8. Then 1 volt divided by 2 by 8 also will give 8 by 2. The result is going to be still 4 ohms. Okay, so that's how we can conclude this kind of problems. Okay, it's easy, not tough. Okay, it's gate level doesn't mean that it's a tough problem. Okay, it's a simple problem. You have to go with the simple fundamental of R Thevenin. That's all. Just obey. Since there is a dependent source, that will complicate things, and you can help yourself by giving excitation so that you can quickly find that dependent source value. And then because dependent source depends on what? Vx. You get that value quickly for the dependent source. Okay, after finding that Vx, then play conveniently with the normal circuit analysis. Okay, that's a good problem. Next one. It's also from circuits. Another 2 marks. An input voltage V of t 10 root 2 cos t plus 10 degree and 10 root 5 cos 2t plus 10 degree is applied to a series combination of R and an inductance L, resulting steady state current in amperes. Okay, simple. It's an AC circuit analysis. What we have is, I have 2 sources that is considered as only one source. I have one source having 2 components. Let me take it as V of t, exciting a resistor and inductor. So I have a resistor of 1 ohm. I have inductor of 1 Henry. Okay, so yes, that's another beautiful problem, because you need to go with an important concept. Without that, okay, there is a chance of committing mistake. Okay, so what is the technique? Here we need to apply means there are 2 signals. Okay, what is V of t given? V of t given is 10 root 2 cos of t plus 10 degree. Okay, plus another signal we have, that is 10 root 5. Okay, 10 root 5 cos of 2t plus 10 degree. See that. So this is a first frequency component, this is second frequency component. Here omega 1 is equal to what? 1 radian per second for the first component. And second component omega 2 equal to 2 radian per second. That means depending on the frequency, the inductor will offer 2 unique impedances. You remember the impedance offered by inductor, it is SL. So it is nothing but J omega L. So omega is 1 means L is 1 means it is going to offer impedance J omega. So the impedance offered by inductor is J omega. If omega is 1, it is going to offer impedance of J1. If omega is 2, it is going to offer impedance of J2. That means it is going to behave uniquely for unique frequencies. That means we should go by strictly using the principle of superposition. So activate your signals one by one. So split your V of t into 2 components. This component you can take it as V1 of t, and this component you can take it as what? V2 of t. So let V1 give the current I1, let V2 give the current I2. Since it's a linear circuit, okay, even though it is R and L, okay, they are passive linear elements only. So you can add the 2 inputs. So V1 plus V2 is the actual input, means output is going to become I1 plus I2. Just go by superposition and get your current I of t. I of t is equal to I1 of t plus I2 of t. So hope we got the challenge now. So you have to, yes, it's not a challenge. You are partitioning the problem into 2 simple subdivisions. Okay, you're going to play with only one source at a time. V1 enabled, get I1. V2 alone enable, get I2. Then add the two currents, that's your resultant current. Okay, so that's what he's looking for. And is saying that resultant steady state current means, so yes, the problem is the moment you excite a system using sinusoidal source by default, we are looking for sinusoidal steady state response only. Okay, it's only sinusoidal steady state response. We'll see what is sinusoidal steady state response first, and then we'll go for the resultant. So let me divide the problem into two parts. Same circuit. So exciting by signal V1 of t having omega equal to 1 radian per second. With that, resistor is a frequency insensitive element. So the resistance offered by resistor remains same. The inductor offers an impedance of J1 ohms. Okay, that's your circuit for signal V1, and that is going to result in a current I1 of t. Let me have another copy of the same circuit, but here I enable V2, second part of the signal source. Then the resultant current is I2 of t. So now omega of second source is 2 radian per second. Therefore, the impedance offered by inductor will be, this is 1 ohm. This is going to offer impedance of J2 strictly superposition, because the impedance offered are little different. Okay. Here's what's V1 of t. V1 of t is 10 root 2 cos t plus 10. So 10 root 2 cos of t plus 10 degree. Okay. And V2 of t is 10 root 5 into cos 2t plus 10. Cos 2t plus 10 degree. Okay. Yes. Now, so let me talk about the sinusoidal steady state response first. When you have sinusoidal steady state response means of any system excited by a sinusoidal signal. Let me take it as a sine omega t, exciting a system that is having a transfer function t of s. So you can set s equal to j omega, that result in t of j omega. The t of j omega should be written in polar form. It's modulus of t of j omega and angle of t of j omega. Okay, for the given supply frequency omega. Okay, it's a finite frequency. Then after setting s equal to j omega, you make your transfer function look like a polar. Okay, it's a magnitude with an angle, phase angle phi for the given omega. For the given omega, convert your transfer function into polar form. That is going to have a gain m, there is a magnitude m, and the phase angle phi. Once this is known, we can go for the sinusoidal steady state output response. It is nothing but sinusoidal steady state output response. What is output response? It is shortly a into m, that's output amplitude. The input amplitude a, this is your sinusoidal signal with the amplitude a, and that's a positive peak, it's a negative peak. Okay, that's your signal. A sin omega t, its frequency is omega. So input amplitude is a, the peak is I'm taking it as a, then output amplitude is going to become a into m into sine omega t plus phi. Phi is the phase angle offered by your system. Okay, so m is the magnitude offered by the system that is getting multiplied with amplitude, and phase angle gets added with omega t. This is what exactly the sinusoidal steady state response is. Okay, so we need to get similar to this. So but what we have is, we have a simple circuit. Already we got the impedance. Okay, that's our system. So already we got the impedance. So this is our result of j omega. So we can go for the system like I of s, I1 of s divided by V1 of s. That's your transfer function. Then you put this transfer function into polar form for the given supply frequency. Then you can do the similar step. Okay, so you're passing your V1, to whom? The transfer function, and then you can play with the similar steady state response fundamental. Okay, that's a basic behind this. Let us go for the solution now. So playing by the circuit way. So the impedance is known is that of j omega. Straight away you can go for the current. So then the current I1 of t is equal to simply V1 of t divided by 1 plus j1, and put 1 plus j1 into polar form. It's going to be V1 of t divided by 1 plus j1 in polar form will be root 2. That is root of real square plus imaginary square at an angle tan inverse of 1 by 1. That's going to become 45 degree. Therefore, the result is going to be I1 of t is equal to, yes, V1 of t you can substitute. So 10 root 2. Okay, cos t plus 10 degree, the whole divided by root 2 at an angle 45 degree. And root 2 will get cancelled. The result is going to be, yes, let me write the result here. What is the result? I1 of t as a result, okay, is going to be, what is that? 10 cos, take the angle to the numerator, then it is going to be cos t. 10 minus 45 will become minus 35 degree. That's a first response. Okay, so let me try to conclude the problem. Let me check really whether I want to play for the next. I know the first component, and whoever is supporting the first component, that will be my answer. So I'm expecting the first component is, for the first component, 10 cos t minus 35. Overall having this. Okay. Okay. So this is eliminated. This is eliminated. So 2 are in the race. So this is 10 cos t minus 35. This is also 10 cos t minus 35. Yes, we have to play really for the second part. No other choice. Okay, let us play and conclude quickly the problem. Yes, this is what you need to check in the middle of the problem. If there is a helping hand by the designer by giving only one such a unique option, you can stop the problem there itself in order to go ahead for the second step. Yes, go ahead. Now you same logic we need to apply. Yes, get I2 of t. I2 of t will be, so it's helping you for the second part also, I guess, by giving root 5. So 10 root 5 cos of 2t plus 10 degree. Okay, the whole divided by, what do you get here? What is the impedance? 1 plus j2. So it's Ohm's law only, voltage divided by the impedance. That's what we follow. What is the impedance of this? 1 plus j2. Put that in polar. If it is in polar, it's 1 square plus 2 square. It's going to be 5. That's helping at an angle. That's where the trouble is. Tan inverse of 2 you will get. Okay, we have to remember this tan inverse of 2. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so then denominator is going to become root 5 at an angle tan inverse of 2 we will get. If it is in the order of tan inverse of 2 is given in the expression, it's well and good. If not, we have a trouble. We have to calculate that. So then I2 of t is equal to 10 cos 2t plus 10 degree minus tan inverse of 2. Tan inverse of 2 will be, tan inverse of 1 is 45 degree. Tan inverse of 2 means maybe something around 60 or 70 like that we will get, but we don't have a numerical online calculator or physical calculator, handheld calculator in the exam. Okay, so this is your answer. We'll see. Okay. So then roughly guessing means it's going to be around 60, also means around minus 50 degree we will get. And this can be, see, for example, tan inverse of 1 is 45 degree. Tan inverse of infinity is 90 degree, remember. So our angle is going to fall between 45 and 90. So assuming it is more than 45, so 10 minus more than 45 means it is going to be minimum minus 35 you will get. That's a maximum minus 35. So the number should be, the angle should be more phase shift than 35 degree. That's what we expect. Okay, we'll see. If it is given in terms of tan inverse of 2, it's well and good. If not, okay. So for 1, okay. So he played with that only. Okay. So we can appreciate the designer. He has given. So it is tan inverse of 2. This is minus. Okay. So 2t plus 10 minus tan inverse of 2. Okay. 2t plus 10 minus tan inverse of 2. That's exactly the number. Yes, that's your option. That's a real play by the designer. Yes. Okay, so you can appreciate your fundamentals of engineering. Okay, so only when problems are connected to this level. Okay, Yes, there's a simple problem, AC circuit involving a resistor and inductor, but interestingly, the input source is having two frequency component. Yes, you have to immediately imagine, you have to go by superposition, you have to enable the sources one by one, get the responses. Okay, right? Some problems are already connected to the superposition in the same paper. So there itself some keys there. With that itself also you can build. Okay, get I1 individually, I2 individually, add them. So the correct answer is this. Okay, so this is the one we are expecting. So it didn't trouble us. Okay, expecting tan inverse of 2. Okay, right? Yes, that's a good problem. Appreciate the designer and organizing institute. Okay, yes, that's good. That's another interesting 2 marks problem. Okay, so let me conclude this session. We'll get into the next problem in the next video. Okay, so hope you are enjoying this content. Okay, you can feed your comments and subscribe the channel. Thank you.